All right, this is the year. Michigan, back on top, baby. Here we go. All right, 9 out of 11 sounds a lot better than 8 out of 10. Boogie! Devin Bush. We are the little brother right now. 8 of 10, Sparty has won, and you're going to put a fresh batch of disrespect on it? Come on, man. Okay, that's no problem. First receiving touchdown in what, 7 years? We're good here. Lewerke, did you even practice this week? Oh, it's a halfback. Sparty special, baby. Call Philly. It's the Sparty special. Harbaugh said he was watching for trick plays. Come on, Jim. DPJ. Touchdown, Michigan. Well, I'm going to be hearing this one from the boys all year. The boys are going to hear about this all year. Go Blue! Good evening, everyone. Welcome inside the 7 Sports Cave today, joined by John U. Bacon and Devin Gardner, former Michigan quarterback. And guys, what's up, man?
Nothing. How you doing? A little cold?
It's freezing in here.
I'm good. How about you?
Well, let's just be honest here.
Who's got it better than you?
Nobody. Because guess what? I get to wear a shirt that a lot of Michigan fans are looking for these days. The Revenge Tour shirt is on because, you know, let's take a look back at a tweet maybe that I probably shouldn't have sent to this guy over here. He screenshotted our Instagram conversation saying, hey, about a shirt bet? He bet me there. You see the little handshake emoji? That's what it's only used for, right? And here we are. I'm a size L, so here I am literally wearing an L. Of course, I'm a Michigan State grad, but we're all fun and games here. It's a healthy rivalry. It's never been better, right, guys?
I mean, it looks really good on you,
though. It does, actually.
I'm amazed how fast a tweet from Chase Winovich becomes a T-shirt you can wear in a TV studio.
2018, baby.
You know, and we'll get into Chase Winovich. I have a little bit of an issue, partially, with what he said. I love Chase. He's a great kid, but we'll get into that later. We're going to talk about the game, what happened down the field, and of course we have to talk about what happened before the game and the fallout after the game. We'll also talk about the Lions. They had a big win today on the road in Miami, so we'll get to that later. And of course we're going to be taking your tweets. I have a feeling this show is going to irk some people to have something to say about it. So if you want to get involved in the conversation, use the hashtag 7SportsCave. I'll get to those later on in the program. But guys, let's start with the rivalry game. The Revenge Tour was started last week against Wisconsin with the victory. And it went in East Lansing, and it continued in a major, major way. Look, 94 yards holding them. Now, there's the reasons for it, but look, what did you guys see? What were your first reactions of that game?
I just saw a lot of what I expected to see, you know, just continuing to improve in every area and our defense just being as dominant as they've always been. And I'm kind of waiting this because somebody has got to figure our defense out, right? I mean, they can't be this dominant where they're just completely shutting everybody down. They're shutting some really good quarterbacks down. I really like Lewerke and I really liked Hornibrook, and I thought they were very good quarterbacks, and they completely annihilated them and their teams. 5 for 25 for Lewerke. Now, we did find out, John, that he did not practice at all the entire week, and he tried to play the game, obviously hurt. Didn't really work out for him there. That being said, how good is this defense? Because they have something to say about that as well.
It might be historically good. Now, you might have to go back to the 70s to find a defense like this at Michigan. It's that good. However, like Devin said, no one's cracked the code yet. Someone is bound to poke some holes in sooner or later. What I saw is what you saw, and that is that a Michigan team peaking at the right time, and a Michigan State team that probably could not have been more damaged going into this game. 8 or 9 starters were out, and the most important injury is the guy who did play, of course, Lewerke. Brian Lewerke, the quarterback. The Michigan players I've talked to said that when he hit the ground, you could hear it. I mean, the throwing shoulder is a mess. You know, grunting to get off the mat, basically. So it was one hand tied behind their back, maybe. Nonetheless, Michigan was clearly highly focused on this game. Call that credit to Michigan State. When you've lost 8 out of the last 10, guess what? It's a red-letter game.
Right. And as it should be. It should be every year for both programs. And I think that, look, as much as we want to talk about what happened on the field, and if we have time, we'll get to it, but I feel like it's almost secondary because, look, there was a beatdown, no doubt about it. Michigan owned that game, but you guys said something interesting when we were walking onto the set. You guys felt a little uncomfortable there still. Why couldn't Michigan seemingly pull away earlier in that game when, I mean, the numbers showed it, the time of possession showed it, the ability to move, when Michigan State didn't convert a third down. I mean, this whole first half, and it was a 7-point game.
They had, the yardage, the time of possession, blah, 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 all looked very much on Michigan's side. But, man, it was 7-7, and even at 14-7 after the DPJ long reception, of course. That game, I thought, was in the balance to the very end, even with Lombardi in. Rocky Lombardi. If Michigan's going to lose another crazy game, that's the guy.
Right.
Rocky Lombardi off the bench, yes, yes. Even that, they were pushing it. Look, they scored, they're on the 20-yard line or so. They punched that one in. Onside kick, you got a game, man.
Devin, speak for the Michigan fans, because I know a few, and every single one of them kind of sat on their hands. Very anxious, very nervous. We've seen this script before, and it's one of the reasons that I flopped on my pick, and I ended up picking Michigan State before the game after I'd picked Michigan to win earlier in the week, only because the script was feeding right into what we've seen again and again and again. And
see that frame behind you?
I do remember trouble with the snap, but this game, it never felt like it was ever in jeopardy for Michigan, but at the same time, we've seen the crazy things, and I think, speak for the fan base here at large, because I think a lot of people were sitting on their hands until the clock went 0-0-0-0.
Literally until it went 0-0-0-0. Maybe one more zero after that, right? And I think not only because of the history, but because of the type of rivalry this is, it's so hard to just say it's over, especially when something like that happens. You know what I mean? And I think that for myself, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other fans, we saw that things can turn bad for us in a matter of seconds, not even minutes, a matter of seconds, right? And there's one key play in the game where we saw Grant Perry completely pull an interception out of a guy's hands, which could have completely turned the landscape of this game, right? And so it's things like that that you can't really plan for. And yeah, 0-0s are a lot better than trying to. I try so hard because because you're a Sparty and Michigan and the rivalry, and you want to get the upper hand, you want to talk some smack, but it's like, just shut up, because the last time you tried that, there's a framed picture at the SportsCave.
Yeah, that is right there. Everybody remembers how they felt that day. And I think that because Michigan State went in Ann Arbor last year and got the victory when Michigan had, again, hopes of doing something more with their season, taken away from them, that's what led to the jubilant celebration. I believe Dave Abloff said this is the first time in a long time they've celebrated with Paul Bunyan at Spartan Stadium outward. I know 2 years ago when they won there, they took it into their own locker room and didn't do the parade on the field, but this one took a turn. A
little history on that one. Trophy starts in 1953 with Soapy Williams, the governor, and Michigan at first said, if we win it, we're not going to even take it. Now, of course, they lost that game anyway, so it made no difference. When they did win it, they would not even get it engraved. So the whole thing was basically an insult towards the trophy. For the first time ever in the history of this trophy, now, whatever, 65 years, Michigan celebrated on any field, Michigan State or Ann Arbor, which tells you what, no matter what else you think about the before and after and so on, Michigan clearly embraces and values the rivalry, I think, in ways that maybe they never have before. And again, you lose 8 out of 10, right. It becomes a lot more valuable. But I think this rivalry in some ways is at a peak. It's getting national attention now it never got before. And no one can say it doesn't matter. That's crazy.
I said on this show when I first took over in 2014, when Michigan was at a very low point, I said, I want them to be better. I want Michigan State to be better. This should be a top 10 matchup, or a ranked matchup, at least, as it was this year, every single year. Why? Because it makes the state better. It makes the rivalry better. It makes the Big Ten better. Just the trickle-down effect of this rivalry being as good as it's ever been is great. That being said, did you guys have an issue with what happened in the pregame?
Here we go.
Yeah, because this is what people are talking about.
Something happened in the pregame?
Something happened in the pregame, Devin. Did you pay attention?
Might have eclipsed the game itself.
Devin Bush went on an absolute tirade.
He's got a great name.
He does have a good one. Right down on the Spartan head at midfield, scuffing up the whole turf and whatnot. I saw that, and without context, mind you, I was getting in late to East Lansing, didn't know exactly what had happened. I'm going, what is this guy doing? Why is he doing this when for so long you've been trying to, win it back, and then you go and do? What did you take from that?
Yeah, so I think this differed from what happened in 2014 that I did not agree with, the smashing of the stake in their field. I think this differed a great deal, and for many different reasons. But I think Devin Bush has been a guy that's proven to back it up, one. And I think he talked after the game about how he just got the emotions of everything kind of got the hold of him, right? And this is, we lose to Michigan State, and then you have a whole year to think about it, and it builds up, and then guys are saying, yeah, we've been here before where you guys have been good. We've not been that good, and we still beat you, right? And so that accompanied with clothesline, we didn't move, whatever, right? It just all boiled up, and then trying to show pride for his team and everything like that. I think that he kind of lost his emotions, and I think it's better for the future of the rivalry because of it.
Almost certainly. By the way, that thing's going to play for a decade.
It is.
I think it just replaced Mike Hart.
Well,
maybe not.
That's to the point. I teased earlier in the show.
Pretty sizable, right?
I have to show you exactly what Chase Winovich said so you can hear it in full context from him first, because he's been very outspoken. And this is one of the guys, he's one of my favorite players on the team, not only because of how he plays with tenacity and anger, but he's very sound. But he's also a great guy off the field, raising money for the Chad Tuff Foundation last year, doing things in the community, always saying that he wants to be a Michigan man. Then he goes out and says this.
Sometimes your little brother starts acting up, and you just got to put him in place.
And with that, little brother is reborn. I mean, can that just go to bed yet? I'm tired of the little brother big thing.
Yeah, so for me, that's not going to have the effect on the rivalry like the Mike Hart. It's been done. You're like a repeat offender. It's not going to take that kind of, toll on the rivalry. And I think it was kind of a reach, very emotional, just still kind of tired from running around, parading around.
You can hear it in his mouth,
right.
I mean, his breath.
And I think that, that's something that he really wanted to get out, right? He really wanted to get that out. And uncalled for, yeah, maybe, but I think it was more of a reach than anything. And I don't think it didn't do anything for me.
Do you think that both head coaches played to their bases when Harbaugh after the game called Michigan State's action beforehand Bush League? And then Mark D'Antonio said that's BS.
Check.
Is it just, I mean, is this the check, I mean, the chess move, the pieces are continuing to move in the rivalry?
Yeah, and what Jim did say, I was in the press conference for that, he did say that apparently, because his source was Dave Abloff, Jim himself, of course, was in the coach's room, so he was secondhand. But his point was that D'Antonio was part of this march across, etc. D'Antonio says BS. It does, there are photos and video, of course, that do indicate that he was there. So
kind of giggling just a tad. Just
honestly,
a smirk here
all
there.
the stuff, honestly, is much ado about nothing. The whole thing is much ado about nothing. It feeds the rivalry. And look, it's a rivalry, man. I mean, how well you'd have to get along at some point.
I mean, stuff like this is important, because if it not have been for the Mike Hart, little brother comment, would this rivalry have changed? Like, would they have something to always draw from for motivation at every point and every turn, right? And so we were dominating the rivalry for the most part. And now, for 10 straight years, because of Mike Hart, the whole rivalry has changed. And now it's an actual rivalry, and it's getting respected around the country.
When's the last time a team's won 2 straight in this besides Michigan State? A couple of times, because I feel like they've won a couple, 2 or 3, then Michigan won it, like over the last 10 years. I don't know if it's been 8 or 10.
A 4-year run is almost unheard of.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've been back and forth the last 4 years.
And no one is better, by the way, no one is better at taking 2- and 3-star players and turning them into Big Ten champions than Antonio. No one's also better than taking whatever else is out there and using that as fuel for his team. He's phenomenal. He should be sending Mike Hart thank you notes 8 out of 10 years.
I'm going to track him down.
And by the way,
Mike Hart
at some point, the Michigan State fan base has to stop being mad at Mike Hart and start thanking Mike Hart. And send him candy and what other snacks he likes. I
don't know. What's he up to these days?
By the way, he's also a very nice guy.
He's
a phenomenal guy.
I have heard through sources that over the years he has wished he would have maybe not said
I've heard that as well. I've heard that from him.
Said. But at the same time, I think I'm with you, lockstep. The rivalry has never been in a better place. Look, it gets out of hand on social media because fans want to be fans, and
it does.
They're going to pick their side.
People are so mean on the internet.
Oh, they're so mean on the internet.
So mean. I've given out so many hugs on the internet. Here's a hug.
Here I am wearing a
where's the love
on my show.
You get a hug. You get a hug. Everybody gets a hug.
All right. We want to hear from you out there now. Send some hugs, maybe. Use the hashtag 7SportsCave. I'll get to your tweets later on in the show. Coming up next, though, got to talk about those Lions. All of a sudden, maybe we're talking about playoffs. Playoffs?
Slow down over there.
We'll talk about that next on 7SportsCave. Stay with us.